The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Bentar bang, itu kan masalahnya mesin hukumnya gimana nih, bener apa kagak?
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an archon.
Ngomong anjir tiba-tiba.
Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There, see? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not...
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervylette?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Mesinnya masih ada akalnya gitu.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof?
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon.
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
Lu bisa ini enggak bikin black hole, terus apa sih namanya? Bikin masjid.
My power as an archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium!
Jangan tanya gue indemnitium itu apa, karena gue baru denger.
Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives.
Mampus gua.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is?
Nifilet.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument.
Aduh, Archon Hydro ya.
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Pusing.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some of my closest friends.
Oh my god, Navia, kan gue udah jadi sahabat lu.
So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
Anjir, berani dong dia. Tanpa disuruh.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Ya tapi kalau ditolak kan kebukti dia bukan Archon.
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
What?
Hey!
Dia kan pakai sarung tangan kan ya, kayaknya aman.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! Will you believe me now? I really am your archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water!
Miss Siegewin? If you are present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Anjir, langsung di kulti anjir sama dokter.
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewin.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Diserang banget anjir di sini.
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness.
I can't believe you... Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. Also, if I was really just a human...
Iya, semuanya udah pada mengelak.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your archon.
Iya, kasihan.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway me. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty.